Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome to another Waterloo tutorial with Koala. So yesterday I taught you lads just how to use the new radar mechanics of update 1.87 locked on for target detection and tracking, and today we're going to talk about just how to combat them. This is going to be a rather short video. I had actually planned to include this discussion in yesterday's radar tutorial, but I thought it deserved its own separate video, so let's get right into it. So lads, in today's video we're going to focus primarily on how aircraft and helicopters and ground battles can avoid the radar equipped anti-air vehicles like the Gepard and Tunguska. These vehicles are incredibly powerful right now, so I just want to say first off that there is no way possible to keep yourself 100% safe against these AA besides just not spawning in aerial vehicles in the first place. This video and these tactics are not going to make you invisible or invincible to radar AA, but we're going to discuss some tips that might help you minimize the risk of dying at the hands of these vehicles before being able to accomplish anything in your aircraft or helicopters. Despite how many times the Tunguska has, well, grounded you, these radar are not perfect, and there are several ways to avoid and escape radar detection and target lock. To escape radar, your best bet is to fly low and put something solid between you and it, like a hill, tall building, or even a dense covering of trees if you can fly low enough. These radar need an unobstructed line of sight to their target to track and will completely lose sight of the target otherwise. They also have a dead zone directly above them, sometimes a pretty large one too, so if you can get above them without being killed beforehand, they won't be able to detect you on radar, although keep in mind they will probably just be able to hear you at that point. Also remember that the VAD and Shilka cannot see behind them without traversing the turret, and the VAD with its fixed radar dish actually has to sweep directly over a target in order to ping it at all. If you know you're facing one of these SPAGs, feel free to flank the map and take them out from behind. They literally cannot see you coming. What's also worth mentioning is that while some SPAGs like the British Chieftain Marksman are tracking one enemy, the radar dish stops rotating and cannot even detect other targets. By far the best way of avoiding radar lock is to abuse what's called notching. The main way these radar track enemies is by using Doppler shift, which allows them to calculate the velocity of the target relative to the radar itself by observing the shift in the target's position between each ping. This is known as delta velocity or delta V and is the number given here. That is how fast a target is approaching or retreating away from you. If a target is circumventing the radar origin while maintaining an exact range from it, then the target has a delta velocity of 0, nothing, because its distance does not change relative to the radar. In this situation, the radar cannot track that target, they literally become invisible. Targets need to have a delta V of at least 12 to 14 kph in order to be detected by these radar, and so if you can fly perpendicularly to the radar maintaining a delta V of around 10 kph or less, then they cannot track you or even detect you at all. Even if they previously were locked on, they will lose you completely. So no guys, it's not bugged. If an aircraft is not moving relative to your radar, then you can't track them. This is why aircraft launching HARMs or anti-radiation missiles at SAM sites in real life will circle the AO, maintaining an exact distance from the outgoing radar source. Unfortunately, this does not work for helicopters. That would make it way too easy, because helicopters propagate sound in, well, a circular fashion. As for helicopters, I suggest spawning not with the air spawn the game gives you, but on the helipad, which will allow you to stick low, avoid showing yourself at all, pick a ridgeline or a hill and simply poke up to launch an ATGM, showing yourself as little as possible. Unfortunately, if you only have the spawn points to spawn in without guided ordnance, then you might as well just bail out, unless you're on a map like Alaska where the tall buildings provide you with a nice amount of cover from that absolute death machine. Ground strike aircraft are also going to have to employ some different tactics with these SPAA having such powerful area denial ability, waiting for teammates to take out the SPAAGs before moving into assault AFVs once the skies are safe. This obviously works best in squads where players can communicate with each other, relay information, mark targets and coordinate their attacks, but that's always been the way with top tier regardless. One other thing you can do is use your AGMs on the aircraft that have them to attack SPAAGs like a seed mission from extreme ranges. However, keep in mind that most of them can fire at you from further ranges than you can launch the AGMs currently seen in game. This is your best bet for taking them out yourself, but it is still very dangerous. As I said in the last video, AA vehicles like the Tunguska should probably be fighting against F-14 Tomcats, not F-100 Super Sabres and FJ-4 Furies, but in time I'm sure we'll get some anti-radiation missiles and more advanced air-to-ground missiles, laser-guided AGMs, and aircraft that are more of a match for these anti-air vehicles. To avoid the radar detection of aircraft, once again your best bet is to put something solid between you and the enemy plane, and remember that the negative reticle view of these aircraft's radar is next to non-existent, meaning that if you fly below your opponent, you'll be invisible to his radar, as well as more difficult to spot with the game's older spotting system. Considering that aircraft we're getting now, as well as many that we're likely to receive in future like the Su-7, cannot reach their maximum speed on the deck, fighting with altitude is something that we may see a resurgence of in top tier jet battles, and so an aircraft like the T-2 or F-100D, when focusing on the ground attack role, or in future something like an Su-25 Frogfoot, A-11 Ghibli, or of course A-10 Thunderbolt, will want to fly low to the ground to avoid the detection of fighter interceptors that should be flying at higher altitudes in order to combat the enemy team's fighters. So your choice is to go for the altitude advantage but sacrifice stealth, or fly low to the ground remaining undetectable by radar but being a much juicier target if somebody does spot you. Anyway lads, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed and that this guide helps you out. If it did, please let me know in the comments, tell me your thoughts on what I said here, and be sure to share this video around to help me out in return. If you want to know more about how the radar detection and target tracking mechanics actually work, how to set them up and get the most use out of them, or some suggestions for the rebalancing of radar equipped vehicles, then do make sure to check out the video I did on these topics yesterday. I'll leave the link on screen and in the video description. Please leave a like if you did enjoy this video, subscribe and hit that notification bell, join the 360 squad, and come follow me at all the social media links in the video description below. Remember to check out my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel further, and always remember lads, keep your bagpipes to hand, keep your kilt on, and I shall see you next video. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon. The Bretlander, Seagull Nuts, DA261, Latvian Wolf, Gisli Arson, and Dark Recon. You lads are bra. If you wish to join them, come check out the link in the description below.